And we are back with another video, guys. Sky Squad, we are back in the building, joined by none other than Adam from Up and Adam.
Hey,
Happy New Year, Adam.
Happy New Year. It's been a while.
I know it's been a while. We are back with another episode of Salt Lake City to recap, and as we wind down into probably maybe 2 or 3 more episodes for the finale. Do you know how many more episodes it is?
I don't know exactly, but I was also assuming that it has to, I'm guessing 2 or 3 only because we still are missing the moment where Jen Shah is pointing in Meredith's face and screaming at her.
Yeah.
And that wasn't on the preview for next week. So at least 2.
Okay, so we'll say at least 2 more episodes before the finale films. We also know that the reunion filmed last week, and missing was one Mary M. Cosby. Okay. Now Mary, it's just something about Mary.
And you were such a big Mary stan too. I feel like out of everyone, you're going to be the most disappointed with this. And I'm not going to lie, Richie, when I heard this, because we all know it's the kiss of death on your housewife career when you decide not to show up. And I was even a little devastated, no, even though I like to talk about her quirkiness and sometimes I don't love everything that she says, and she says some outlandish, crazy stuff, but we need her on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Mary, even though she's very off, she's very, there's a lot about Mary, and there's a lot about Mary that's coming out. But I just think that she provided a very odd dynamic for this group, and it made the group even odder. I can't really explain it. And the quirky fashions and whatnot. And now I don't always agree with a lot of the things that she says and the way that she says them. And she seems very cantankerous and very much like, I don't feel like being here with you girls. And that's not fun to watch.
Right.
But, season 1, Mary, I felt I liked her a little bit better. And maybe it's because we have a little less of her. I don't know. Hard to say.
Listen, she definitely doesn't want to be in a lot of the filming situations. Mary, I actually feel like she reminds me of myself in a couple of ways, and I know that sounds nuts, but I'm just as socially awkward, and I feel like she is very socially awkward. Like, she's contractually obligated to show up at these events, but she doesn't know what to do. And I'm the same way. Like, I get invited to events, and Jason is a social butterfly. He'll work the room. Just like when we went to the Family Karma premiere, and I'm standing in the corner, with my drink, kind of bobbing to the music, not knowing what to do. And somebody walks up and they're like, "Hey, so-and-so, what's your name?" And I'm like, "What do you want?" I'm very awkward, very awkward. So I feel like Mary's the same way.
Honestly, I'm the same way, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm great on here, because I'm just talking either to you or to the people in the camera. It's great. But then you get me in person, I don't know what it is. Small talk just does not work for me. It's not my thing.
And I'm the same way too. I feel like, okay, get to the point. I don't have to do the small talk. The weather's nice outside, or what do you do? It's I don't need that. Just let me enjoy my drink. Unless there's any substance, leave me alone, man. That's why I'm so bad in social situations.
Forced socialization is what I call it. Forced socialization. Just to give you guys a little bit of info, we have a bit of an exclusive coming from Tamra Tattles. This is a Tamra Tattles exclusive. A little bit of details on Mary not showing up to the reunion. Okay, so apparently Mary was just making about $6,000 per episode. Okay.
Right.
So now we're going to say allegedly, right? Just to be on the safe side. Okay. So what they're saying is on Tamra Tattle's site is a source is telling the site that Mary did not show, and her attorney told Shed Media that she wants to receive her final paychecks ASAP, seemingly signaling the end of her participation on the series. People at both the network and production company believe she is upset about a bad edit. So they are going to wire her $6,000 per episode to her and leave her be. And the quote from the executive was, "Bye, Mary." Okay. Now,
that's an intense quote.
It's an intense quote. And so when you look at this, Tamara Tattles, the site, I mean, they go into detail about the comparison of like how much Erica Jane was making to show up at the reunion and compared to how much Mary was making. And it's significantly less. And I suggest you guys go over to the site, tamaratattles.com, and I will put it in the description of this video so that you guys can read it for yourself to get all of the juicy details. But in just speaking about Mary, you know, was her having to defend some of her actions and the things that she said, was it worth that extra $18,000 to $24,000? What are your thoughts, Adam?
Listen, one, it's mind-blowing. The numbers that Tamara Tattles dropped, and I love going out, you know, and checking out Tamara Tattles, but the numbers that she's dropping shows that Erica was making anywhere from 1.2 to 1.4 million last season. And then this season, she would be making about 1.7. So it was kind of crazy to see Erica making more in one reunion than all of these women made filming an entire season. But then again, they are the freshmen on the block. So to be fair, it happens. For Mary, we all know before the housewives go to the reunion, they get the final episodes. They get to review them. That way they know what to talk about. I think that Tamara Tattles might be onto something. I think Mary might have gotten an edit that was not in her favor. It's portraying her as something that she doesn't want to be called. She has to address these comments. She made not one, not two, but three of them. And then she talked in a voice that she was trying to imitate Jennie Nguyen. Like, she will have a lot to answer for, but I feel like this is a cop-out. I want to see Mary come to the reunion and be like, you know what? That's not what I meant. I shouldn't have said that. It was a poor choice of words. What I meant was, and this is why. But it also makes me wonder too, does Mary realize now that Jen Shah could potentially be found guilty in her trial, that if in fact she is found guilty, the next target is Mary and the cult allegations, and she doesn't want to put up with it? I think she knows.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I always hate when a housewife doesn't show up to the reunion because I feel like, you know, that's at least your one time to speak your truth or to say whatever it is that you want to say. Leave the stage if you need to, but at the end of the day, I always feel like you show up because, I mean, we have been with you this entire time and we would love to see something happen at the end of it. And we don't know what's yet to come, and I do believe that Jennie did state some things got worse last night on Watch What Happens Live. But even as Jennie talked about her last night, I did not get the sense that Jennie was still holding on to major resentment that could not be worked through.
Right.
I didn't get that feeling. Now, speaking of Jennie, last night on Watch What Happens Live, Jennie was a guest. Now, oh, Jennie. So, apparently, and I got this a lot. I got a lot of people commenting about this, you know, or tagging me in comments about it, you know, talking about how when Jennie speaks to Mary or when she's kind of going off on Mary or whatever, she is using allegedly a black scent. And someone asked in the comments, well, what is a black scent? And so Lily, thank you for putting this in the comment section, says black scent is imitation of a black English by a non-black person. Jennie spoke to Mary different every time. So Andy on the show last night, he asked her, he said he too, they had gotten a lot of response from a lot of people asking Jennie why she used a black scent every time she spoke to Mary, you know, I guess when she was going off on her or whatever. And Jennie says that she was unaware that she was doing that. She says she didn't know what a black scent was. Jennie also said that she also found Heather's comment about her looking like anime to be somewhat inappropriate.
Right.
But she wouldn't go so far as to say it was just basically inappropriate. So what are your thoughts about about this, Adam. I know it's kind of a touchy subject, but I do want to kind of get your opinion about it, and I did want to address it before we moved on.
No, definitely. One, when Heather said it, I could see why it would be, found by Jennie as incredibly disrespectful, insulting, and taken the wrong way. Do I think that's what Heather meant? Absolutely not. But I also don't find Mary to be the R word. I really don't truly think Mary is what everyone is labeling her as. I think Mary had a moment like when she was talking about the cartel comment, she was worked up and trying to find her words. And there's 4 cameramen around her. She's being attacked. Her church is being attacked. It doesn't make an excuse for it. But I think that she was caught in her words and she was trying to get it out. And that's what came out. Is it wrong? Yeah, but I think that's why she would easily be able to apologize for that at the reunion. For the comment that she made about Jennie's eyes, I think that in her quirky mind, in Mary's mind, where she lives inside of her closet with all those mannequin heads and that's who she talks to, she's like, that is a compliment. I complimented you in your beautiful eyes. Just because I used the word slanted, she's like, I'm telling you that you're beautiful. And Jennie's like, no, that's inappropriate. That doesn't work for me. I think that all of these issues are real issues because everyone deals with a form of the R word in their own way, each respected ethnicity, and they have different comments, and it's not fair across the board, and it might be triggering. I just always look at the person who's saying them, how they're delivering it, and if, trying to understand what do you actually mean, because right now, over the last year and a half, ever since I started my channel, cancel culture is such a real thing, and it's very quick. Say the wrong thing, and you will be the first one locked off. You're done. Everyone is outing you. And for Mary, there was half of the fans who wanted to lop her off and cancel her. And the other half of the fans were very understanding, saying that is not what she meant. So I feel like this is a tug of war game. And she knew exactly what she was going into at the reunion had she have went. And she's like, I'm not getting paid enough to do this. I don't want to do this. That was her prerogative.
I think you pretty much summed up what I was thinking as well. There's really, I agree with you. I think that she has a problem communicating effectively.
Right.
And
exactly.
Since she doesn't always choose her words the best, as we've seen time and time again, I think she puts herself in a position to get tripped up quite a bit. And she says some ignorant things. There are also instances where I felt like, Jennie confronting her about it, saying this is why it was inappropriate to me, or this is why it felt wrong to me. It is what it is. And you move on from it from there. Now, again, we don't know what's coming up next, but we'll just have to wait and see. But as for where we are right now, I feel like I agree with you 100%.
Well, in Jennie's defense too, I don't mean to cut you off, but when she tried to, call out this comment and tell Mary how she felt, Mary's not the most, if you're wanting her to grovel and give you an apology and roll over, bend over backwards and tell you, oh my gosh, no, you're right. Mary's not the person to go to. She said what she said and she's owning it, saying, I meant that as a compliment. And Jennie's like, you still don't get it. But when she says I meant it as a compliment, I think people are so quick to throw around, the R word and that people are that. Again, I don't feel like Mary is that. I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of crap in the comments for it. I just really don't personally. I think that she, like you said, has trouble communicating. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that that's all that needs to be said at this point. It is what it is. I think that sometimes probably the best way to have a conversation with Mary is probably one-on-one with her in her closet or having Meredith there, I don't know. She seems to respond very well to Meredith for some reason. Let's get into the episode, shall we?
Okay. Yes.
I would like to know, and I forgot to do this for Portia's family mess earlier today, but I would like to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, everybody in the I was going to say congregation because I'm still thinking about Mary, but everyone in the chat, what would you rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10? Adam, can you let me know what you would rate it?
I think I'm going to give this one a strong 7.675.
Oh, you're tough.
Yeah. And I think, listen, Seth gave me some comedic relief. I kind of like Dewey in this episode. I still don't understand trying to force the house husbands to be in this, we're trying to make Jersey happen. Stop trying to make Jersey happen. So there are some questionable situations within like this episode, but it had my attention. It definitely wasn't my 10 for the season. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8. I give it an 8 because, like you said, it wasn't a bad episode. It wasn't. No, I'll take it back. I'm gonna give it an 8.5.
You always
Mostly
have to
that-
do it one up.
I
Like you take it to the next level and make it seem like you're such a better grader because it makes me look like I know you say Simon Cowell, and that's exactly what you give me. Adam's a hater. He always grades less.
No, Adam, you're just a tough judge. That's it.
Okay.
No, but the reason I raised it was because I just remembered the whole fight at the end with Lisa and Jen.
Oh yeah.
You know,
flew off the handle so quick. I was like,
and the irony is they were in another sprinter.
The same sprinter. With the same driver. We're like, this is okay. If I were Jen, when I saw that sprinter bus, I'd be like, no, no, ma'am. Am I getting on that bus? No. And I would be asking, where was my stuff from last time when I left it on the bus and you guys went and rummaged through all of it? Where are those snacks? Because Jennie was the first one to be like, I don't care what's happening. I want to go on vacation. Ooh, look what's in her bag. It's like, okay, That's not what normal people do.
Like, I don't know this girl. Let me eat all her food. But later on, I'm going to tell her. I'll get into that later. We start the episode off. The guys meet for golf. They want to send the ladies off to some trip for Mother's Day or whatever. As you stated before, I feel like the guys are trying to give some type of Jersey vibes. And to me, they don't have all of the comedy or the history for us to be able to really buy into that at this point.
Right.
They have a nice little dynamic with their group, but it's not Jersey. It's not worthy of what they're trying to give it.
Right.
That's just what
I agree. Even Jason, sometimes I have a hard time getting him to sit down and watch things. And now all of a sudden he's like one of the biggest Bravo critics. And he goes through and he's like, that they're trying so hard. She is no Teresa Giudice. I'm like, what do you know? But he does. And he pointed out last night, they're trying to make Jersey happen. I was like, no, oh, yeah, you're right. They are. Okay. That makes sense. It's not working.
Mm-hmm. The next scene we have is Jen and Heather meeting up for a spa day, and Heather has brought her to a nice little jacuzzi tub so they can have champagne. Jen's annoyed that Meredith is still upset with her, but she does deliver to me what I thought was a very funny line when she says that Meredith is a bee who's mad that her Facetune subscription ran out. I don't know where Jen comes up with whatever she says in her confessionals, but I really don't want her to go. I really want her to be innocent, mostly because she's a great housewife.
Yeah. We did get, I know this sounds crazy because we got a lot of action from Jen this season. We did get a more tamed Jen. And if you see the scenes like that are cringeworthy of her trying to talk to her son looks incredibly uncomfortable. I think she realized the impact of her first season and what that impact had on her family and how she was acting, and she was reacting to everyone with like these big emotions. And this season, we've gotten a couple of those moments, but not many. And if she's reacting this season, I remember last season we covered this. You said, you can't be at a 10 every single episode. And I agreed with you. But this season, I would more so expect her to be at a 10 every single episode, because if I knew that my ASS was on the line for 50 years in prison, my gosh, I would be a terror. So
it almost feels like, except for the scene with her mom, and I'll just kind of touch on that briefly, or was that last episode? I watched 2 episodes of Salt Lake yesterday, so I'm kind of getting them confused. But I will say that outside of those scenes with her and Coach SHAH or whatever, to me, it doesn't seem as though she doesn't come across as someone who is facing potentially 50 years in jail.
There's no way in my family would get so. I'm not going to name someone, but I had a situation when I was in middle school. There was somebody in my family who caught a DUI charge and had to go to court. And in that charge in Florida, they made this person do 30 consecutive days in jail and then 4 weekends after that, where on Friday you check yourself in, on Monday somebody checks you out. And I remember sitting there with this person squalling every day, just being like, I can't go to jail. I don't know what this is going to look like. They're going to eat me alive. And I remember the impact that 30 days in jail had on this person who has never seen a day or a day in prison or a parking ticket before their DUI. Now pan over to Jen. She's never been in jail. She has no previous criminal record. And now you're talking about 50 years in prison. That is her life. She's talking about, and I've had Ronald Richards on, Emily D. Baker. We've talked about it. There are 13 defendants in this telemarketing fraud ring case. 12 of them have flipped, except for, actually, 11 of them have flipped. There's one left, except for Jen Shah. That other person is kind of right up there in the top tier with Jen. And Emily D. Baker, Ronald Richards, people are assuming the reason that person is not taking a plea is because they are at the top with Jen and that they don't really have anybody to sell out. But I couldn't imagine, at this point, Jen really is going to court, fighting for her life up against 1 million pages of documented evidence, allegedly, against her. This is the fight of her life. It really is the fight of her life. I feel so bad out of all of this, I feel so bad for her family, her kids. It's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for those victims who, will they ever get their money back? Like, how does that work for them? The documentary I watched, I think one woman was able to get some of her money back, but I think it's just a lot of people who are left without their money, which is very sad.
Have you seen the restitutions that these people are paying? 2.5 million for one defendant. My gosh, 3.5. Jen Shah's looking at 3.5 on top of a $2.5 million retainer for her lawyers. That's $6 million coming out of this after prison. The restitutions are crazy. There's a lot. It just goes to show you this is millions of dollars that were scammed. It's not just like, oh, you scammed $2 million, which most people never see in their lifetime. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. And what's funny about this whole situation to me is that in this conversation with Heather and Jen, they were talking about, they get into this thing about, well, allegedly Mary said that, you came after her church and now you're going to jail. And then they start to wonder or ask how anyone knew they were at Beauty Lab. I am so sick and tired of Heather, now Jen, and Whitney trying to play us like idiots. Because at the end of the day, if they have been building a 10-year case with this whole ring that was going on here, why do you think that Jen, who is on a reality television show where they send emails to you on a weekly/daily basis to let you know your schedule, why do you think the FBI wouldn't know where she was going to be?
I mean, I think this has to be by far the dumbest conversation and storyline. Nobody sold you out to the feds. That's not how this works. Again, that's why I like watching people with legal backgrounds who review this kind of content, because I like hearing what they say. And especially for Emily, she said these documents were sealed, but this was an investigation going on since 2012. It didn't happen overnight. This was the feds collecting a lot of information. Now, if they want to know where you're at, one, it's easy to just track your phone. They can do that. They're a part of the government. And two, when they showed up and she got the phone call, that I'm assuming that was the same time that we're seeing the footage of them raiding the house. And it was either the nephew or the son calling, being like, Mom, this is bad. You need to get home. And she was like, what? Hold on. Unmic me. So I don't think anybody sold them out. I think that's a dumb thing to even assume. I feel like they're using this for a storyline, but the fans are much smarter than that. There's no way. Meredith Marks did not say, hold on, operator, can you attach me to Homeland Security or FBI or I don't know, maybe SWAT or the Southern District of New York? Because I have a friend who I think is a little sketchy. That's not how it works.
It's just so dumb. I'm
It's
like,
so
every time they
dumb.
start talking about it, I'm like, I don't know what type of Nancy Drew y'all think we are watching right now, but we are not buying this at all. It sounds crazy to me every time they say it.
It really, it's just the dumbest conversation. Like, this is, you guys are looking for the bad guy. And unfortunately, until, I know it's innocent until proven guilty, but right now all fingers point at Jen Shah like she is the bad guy and she's fighting for her life to prove her innocence. That is the situation. Not Meredith Marks calling the feds. It wasn't Mary Cosby because you spoke against the congregation. This is a Jen Shah situation. So let's kind of be clear on that and keep it to what it is.
Absolutely.
Nobody else deserves the blame.
We get to Seth's birthday party on the rooftop, and I just Whitney and this gift that she gives to Seth. Now, this is not really a major thing, but I just thought it was odd.
It is
that Seth has made so many comments about Whitney's tatas. So much so that she had to gift him a tata cake. Okay? For him to then begin licking. It was just very strange to me.
When he started licking it, and then, you know what was more cringeworthy was Bravo playing like the pan backs to all the times that he's commented on Whitney's chest. And I was like, this is actually uncomfortable. Like, I don't know who, there's 4 people who should be uncomfortable in this situation. 1, the aggressor, the one who's saying it all. 2, Whitney's husband. I would be like, bro, that's my wife. Exactly. Whitney has to be somewhat uncomfortable. And Meredith has to be like, that is a friend of mine. And hello, do you see this? I'm here. I'm Meredith Marks. So yeah, it's a strange dynamic. And when he starts licking, obviously I don't need to say that word on here. I don't want to get you demonetized or whatever, but I'm like, wait a minute, Seth, you're taking this to a new level. You're a little creeper. You're a little weird.
It was strange. And the fact of the matter is, you guys just got back on good terms. I mean, last season you were begging her to see her phone. And now you're creeping all over, I don't know. It was just strange to me. It was very, very weird. Mary and Meredith have a conversation off to the side. What really comes of this conversation is that Mary feels like Lisa is jealous of Meredith's and Mary's friendship. I saw something online, and I think it may have been an after show clip. I did not watch the video, but the title of it was something to the effect that Heather feels like Jennie is doing Lisa's dirty work.
Right.
Now, how did I get those two things together? Follow my logic. So,
okay,
love Lisa, love her dearly, but I've not really seen much outward display of Lisa seeming jealous of Meredith and Mary's friendship. I have not really seen that. But what I have seen is Mary kind of coming at Lisa definitely a lot more than she did last year.
Yes.
And what I'm also seeing is Jennie definitely having a lot to say about both Meredith and Mary. So when I saw that title from that video from BravoTV.com, where Heather was saying that she feels like Jennie does Lisa's dirty work, my brain started to wonder, could that be the case?
What conclusion did your brain come up with?
Well, could it be the case that Jennie is doing the work, the dirty work for Lisa, coming after Meredith and Mary because Lisa doesn't want to look like the bad guy?
Listen, honestly, if that's the case, I think Jennie is a housewife who is allowed to bring a friend on the show's dream. I mean, the fact that I think that she is what Lisa Rinna wanted Sutton to be. Okay, I'm the housewife this year. I get to bring a friend onto the show. oh, watch this. You think I'm messy? I'm going to make sure I coach them through this process. They'll be messy. And then you kind of get to stand back like we're seeing right now. I know you just called it Portia's family mess and you covered it, but like how Portia is using her assistant Dom and then her cousin Storm to kind of address these cheating rumors because it makes her look like the good guy, but they're going to say it. So it's going to be mentioned. She's living for it. And I think Lisa Barlow, the same thing. I also am a big Lisa Barlow fan. I think she's amazing. But I feel like we've seen way too many times this season where she's putting on her producer's cap and we can see the scenes that are being manipulated. So I wouldn't put it past her, especially after the caterer and the calling her 7 lawyers, 6 lawyers, whatever, and a few other things like bringing a member of Mary's congregation. I would not put it past her that she would be in Jennie Nguyen's ear. It wouldn't surprise me.
Okay.
No.
Well, we get this whole announcement from the guys that the ladies are going to be going on a Mother's Day trip, and then all of the ladies except for Mary jumps in the pool. I can definitely understand why Mary was not going to be jumping in the pool because I know she was not ready to get that wig messed up. Okay, so there's that. Meanwhile, Jen does some homework with Coach SHAH, who. Have you ever noticed how softly he talks to her now? It's like it almost feels a little bit put on to me. And I hate to say that. I did not mean to say that just now. It literally just rolled out of my mouth. I was thinking it, but I didn't mean to say it. But now that I said it, it's out there.
I said what I said.
Yeah, I just feel like he's talking to her like a little girl now, I can't really explain it. He's being very gentle with her. Not one time have I seen a minute where this man has been like, now, honey, did you do this or not?
Right.
Because there's a lot of paperwork.
I think what's happening right now is Jen is a highly reactive person. We saw it last season. I think that obviously she's not going to give a lot of those moments to the camera this season after the scrutiny that she was put under last season for it. I feel like there's a lot that we're not seeing behind the scenes with her meltdown. This woman has to be crying herself to sleep every single night. She's thinking about 50 years in prison. No Botox, no Louboutins, no red bottoms. This is all crossing her mind, not seeing her son graduate. So I think that they're probably getting a lot of big reactions behind the scenes that we're not catching on camera. And he's now getting to the point where, as a husband, he's learning how to calm her down. So he's probably taking on a therapist role and a husband role. This is probably just as trying on him. And he's like, babe, listen, you need to breathe. And she's probably on the inside, like, when these fucking cameras leave, I'm going to rip your head off. Stop talking to me like that. I'm like, ugh, I would be scared to be in this situation. And when she was doing the house tours, I'm like, oh, dude, reality check. This is about to get like, welcome to my life, Jen. Hey, welcome to the apartment life. This is what it looks like. 900 square feet,
like
girl.
us.
It's crazy.
But okay, so she seems very distraught in that scene. But cue the next day, and she is all with her I forgot what those things
Maracas?
are called. She's with her maracas, just singing and dancing and twerking and all kinds of other things, excited to be going to wherever Zion is on this trip. Where is Zion and what is it like? Do you know?
I was going to ask you. Hold on. I'm definitely finding out right now. Where is Zion? Zion has to be somewhere, right? Zion.
It's got to be somewhere over there in Utah. If you know in the chat, let us know.
Yeah, guys, it says Zion Hill, Jerusalem, Zion National Park. I don't know where Zion is. I have no idea. Oh, Utah's first national park, Zion.
Well, there we go. They're going to the national park. Okay. So that's why she's jumping up all around and twerking, because they're going to the national park. Okay, it makes so much sense.
Because she can't leave. If you think about it too, we should have known that it was in Utah, because at this point she's already been bonded out and she can't leave the state. So it has to be in Utah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there go their cast trips. Okay. So, everybody packing for the trip. She comes along with her twerking. Whitney and Jennie are having deja vu when they get on the Sprinter bus. Mary and Meredith, as usual, have decided to fly first class or whatever they fly, a jet, whoever knows. But they're not with the rest of the group. I wonder how they get to do. Well, I guess all production is really wanting to do is get the ladies there. But in my mind, I would be like, no, you're gonna ride on this, or either that, or everybody's riding on your private jet.
Yeah,
pick or choose.
I thought about it the same way. You know, I see where the women are trying to. It's easy to run with this narrative, like, what a coincidence. We're back on the Sprinter bus. No Meredith, no Mary. But I was thinking in my head, this is one of the things that really annoy me when it comes to Housewives or any of these reality shows. Is I feel like everyone should be contractually obligated to do the same thing. Like, sure, should you be allowed to miss a couple events? Yeah, you should have like a tally. Maybe you can miss 3 events, pick and choose what you want to miss. But when it comes to trips, everyone should be on the bus. Meredith should be sitting across from Jen. If something's uncomfortable, guess what? Too bad. You signed up to be on a show. Let's talk about it. If, you know, Mary's uncomfortable and she doesn't want to hash something out with Jen, too bad. Maybe you'll find some resolution, but they all should be on the Sprinter bus. I don't like that.
I don't like it either. I just 2 things really quickly. You know, typically they all get together, or there's usually some type of communication before the season starts, or even during the season, so they can really kind of discuss and hash out, you know, when they can go on these trips. So everyone knows when it's happening. So that's number 1. But number 2, I think back to, there's a Real Housewives of New York. It's season 7. Bethany has just come back, and it's like except for Carol, 7 of them are in this Sprinter van, tightly compact, and they're all arguing with each other. And it was just the best. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, everybody else needs to do this. Take notes. Take notes. New casts. Take notes. Okay.
This is why you guys are getting paid $20,000 for a reunion. Step it up.
Step it up. Play ball. This is why we were watching. Okay. So Jen has her microphone. Jennie, what I do notice is that she's questioning whether or not Meredith really missed the first bus ride because of her father's memorial, which I thought was a little odd. Jen then says, when she's starting to go off. Now she's starting to have her Jen moment, and you can really see her begin to escalate. It was interesting to watch if you're watching it, because you can see it starting to happen. And as a fan of the show, you know it's about to get on. It's about to be on 10, because she can't stop herself. And then she says her arrest was fake and alleged. Girl, we know it was not fake. It was not alleged. It happened. It's all over the news. It was plastered everywhere. How?
Listen, the FBI, SWAT, HSI, whatever you want to call, whatever department you want to kind of single out, I don't think that they have time to be like, you know what? It's a slow Monday. Let's just crash this reality TV show and arrest this woman for no reason. Because why not? It'll be fun. That's not how this works. So it does make me question, you know, Jen has had a lot of bad plays in trying to navigate this, like the contact. Her contact got in her eye. She didn't know what she was signing. That was a problem. Then she tried using the housewife and the SHAH shocker, as there were members of Homeland Security who did interviews. That's going to sway the jury. So you should throw out my whole entire case. Also a problem. Southern District of New York said, nope, it's not swaying the jury. We made sure that they haven't seen it. We're good. So it's like one thing after another. She's trying to do everything she can to get her case thrown out. And no matter what she believes, it's still a very real case. This is a huge investigation. It's beyond Jen Shah. There are 13 people involved, and there are a lot of victims, over 100. So somebody has to answer for this.
And you know what's funny to me? It's really that throughout all of this, and I guess maybe she has to do this in order to try to maintain, like, court-wise, like legally, she has to probably say, I don't know anything about this. But it's like, girl, come on. Like, all of this didn't come out of the blue. You knew something. Did you do something and you didn't know what you were doing? That to me would make a little bit more sense. I didn't know it wasn't the right thing to do. Oh, I didn't know that. But to say there was you didn't know anything, I don't know. I'm just
Can I just say we were all upset with Erica Girardi not knowing anything, and it wasn't her law firm. And we were all so mad because we're like, there's no chance you were with this man for over 20 years. You did not know. For Jen, this is almost like she's Tom Girardi in this case. This is your law firm. This is all painted on you. So to act like you don't know, and I love where she's like, I don't know what Stuart Smith was doing with his businesses. Like, I don't know. I was just here supporting him. I'm like, I cannot wait to see how this plays out in court. By the way, guys, if you're in New York, I asked Emily, and you guys are more than welcome. If you are there on the day that she's being tried, her case is being tried, anybody can go. You can just sign up, go wait outside the courtroom, and go see Jen Shah in her trial. It'll be all month long.
Oh my God.
Look at Richie. He's like, I'm buying a ticket or I'm getting on the first train.
Well, I am close. Okay.
Yeah, you are close. You're like what, an 8-hour ride? Train ride?
No, it's like really like 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you at the Jen Shah trial.
You might see me outside covering live from my cell phone.
You're like, hey guys, this is DJRichieSkye, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's the guy. You're like, hold on, can you not interrupt?
Wait, she's coming out of the building now.
Yes, she's coming out of the building. Oh my gosh. I mean, it'll be interesting. It's going to be crazy no matter what. I'm sure there will be so much press outside for this.
I know. It's going to be wild.
Yes.
So as Jen is getting more and more worked up about, Meredith, because now she has the information from Jennie that Meredith hired a private investigator to investigate her. And Heather tries to tell her, hey, no, it's because we were all getting threatening text messages. But Jen steamrolls past that. And I don't know if I blame Jennie for it. I partly blame Jennie for it because I know that Jennie feels a certain type of way about that. But to be honest with you, if everyone is receiving, and Jennie, you know nothing about this, you weren't even there. If everyone was receiving threatening text messages from an anonymous, cell phone user, why wouldn't somebody hire somebody to investigate that or go to the police or something?
I mean, I would. Especially because you don't know. And I think, too, it's important to remember that these women at the time just became public figures. They just got their notoriety, and they don't know who's messaging them, who's threatening their lives, who's, why not hire somebody, put an end to it? If you have the money, you can hire an investigator and figure out where it's coming from, and you can shut it down. I would, too. Especially if you're threatening my family. I would be on top of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just Helen says, I believe people in Jen's camp did this to Jen, and she trusted them to run the business and bring in the money. Look at personality. I mean, in my mind, I would have assumed that might have been her defense. Like, this is something that my team has done, or someone in my camp has done something wrong, and now I have to fix it. I'm being blamed for this. But to say I don't know anything about it, it's just kind of strange. Melissa Chase says, Richie, I've missed you so much. Welcome home. Thank you so much for that. So Jen is getting a lot more worked up, and she's just like literally in a tizzy at this point. And she's really taken all of this out on Lisa, because right. Lisa is friends with Meredith. Lisa doesn't talk to Meredith the same way. And when you look at the way that, and maybe Jen wouldn't know this, but Lisa has really risked her friendship with Meredith for Jen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But
Jen
wouldn't know that, though.
Right.
Does Jen have a right to be angry with Lisa?
No, unfortunately, we can go over all the situations where it looks like Lisa Barlow has a producer's cap on in some of these scenes. But in this moment, this specific moment, she is caught between a rock and a hard place. She is longtime friends with Meredith, and she's trying to navigate this friendship with Jen. If she's friends with Jen, Meredith's mad. She's friends with Meredith, Jen's mad. Like, she can't win in this situation, especially with all of the hurt that they've done to each other, mostly Jen to Meredith. Lisa's just collateral damage. Like, I actually feel bad for her because there's nothing she can say in this moment that is going to calm Jen down or make her or the situation okay. She loses no matter what.
Yeah. You know, it was interesting to see the way the situation escalated because it kind of happened pretty quickly at the end, wherein Jen is demanding that Lisa say something. And I cannot remember what she was trying to ask her to say. And then she says to Lisa, if you don't say it, I'm out of here. Like, basically threatening to leave. Like, I mean, where are you going to go? The van's in motion. So she's threatening to leave. She's threatening to jump out of the van. And Lisa does not say whatever she wants her to say. So at that point, Jen gets up and she starts to get in Lisa's face. So much to the point where Lisa basically has to get up and kind of, I don't want to say push her, but like keep her at a distance, right? And Jen continues to get further and further in her personal space, so much so that a producer has to essentially come and try to break them up. Meanwhile, I'm watching Jennie not do or say very much, and I would have assumed that she would have been much more vocal. And it just, some of the things about Jennie bother me so much because I feel like she's so new and has so much to say about certain things, but not others. I would have expected her to intervene there in some way, shape, or form, since she was kind of in between them, but she really didn't do much. Is Jen putting her hands on Lisa? That's what I want to know from you, Adam. Like, what, in your estimation, is that what we're going to see come next week? Is that what we saw? Because it's kind of hard to tell.
Two things. One, I hope not, because she's under strict rules being out on her bond. She's not allowed to excessively drink, obviously no substance abuse. She can't exit the state, and she cannot be in a situation like this where it gets physical. These all will violate her bond. So I'm really hoping not, because all of this footage can and it will be used in court. They will definitely reference the housewives. And for Jennie, you know, she's just showing that at least she's consistent. When Jen Shah was arrested the first time she was on the Sprinter van, she's like, let's go through her purse. Gummy worms. Hey. And then the second time when like there's a fight breaking out, she's looking over to the corner like, I don't have time for this. And I'm like, this is all happening in your face. Where is your reaction? Where's the personality? What are you giving it? You're like, she's acting like nothing is happening. She's just like, oh, they're fighting.
But
on our way to Dion.
But she was so worked up about the PI that she went back and told Jen. It was just, I don't know. She's quite like the rest of this cast, which is chaotic to me. So, I mean, I guess I shouldn't complain very much because she's pretty much on par with everyone in the cast at this point, to me.
She might be solidifying her position for next season. I mean, it's messy. Probably. We need more. But, you know, we need more from Crystal Kung Minkoff on Beverly Hills. We needed more from Sutton. Her second season, she came in and asked all the Erica questions we wanted her to. She redeemed herself. Like, Jennie might now, knowing how this all works, that this is a well-oiled machine, it's a monster, but knowing how the monster works and how you need to feed it, she might come back season 2 like, that season I was learning. I needed to know the rules. This season, I got it. So, we don't know.
It'll be interesting. I'm sure they'll bring her back for season 2 because, I mean, she has done, I mean, like her or not, she's done her job at this point. It'll be interesting to see how they work without Mary. I mean, this group can kind of function without Mary anyway, because I feel like Mary has kind of alienated everyone.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting because, as we've also learned from the post-reunion, is that Jen and Meredith have refollowed each other on Instagram. And the refollow is major.
Okay. So things are getting better. So it means that we got some resolution at the reunion. That's what that means. Right?
I would imagine, but I want to really understand where Lisa and Meredith are, because in my mind, I kind of wonder if Lisa and Meredith are more or less like, okay, behind the scenes, we are ride or die sisters. Like we're in it. We're gonna fuss and fight, but at the end of the day, I'm still gonna call you when I'm on my way home from work.
Right.
That's the vibe that they give me. Because you'll notice every time they have an argument, the next day, it's like nothing happened.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of gives me the vibes of like Brandy Glanville and LVP, where, once they were no longer friends, they outed each other and said, yeah, we would spend 3 hours on the phone a day and talk about filming before we were actually filming, and we were in cahoots and we knew what was going to happen. Like, they do give me those vibes, but I don't know. It's still, for me, too soon to tell. I feel like Meredith might actually also be getting annoyed with Lisa in her position being friends with Jen, because some friends would. I mean, I wouldn't, but I definitely know people who would. So there's a big question mark over this one for me. For sure.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I've heard that before we go, I heard that Lisa and Jen got the 2 seats next to Andy at the reunion. Have you heard anything else major that we need to know about the reunion before we head out?
No, I just heard that Heather was next to Jen. Lisa and Jen were the 2 closest seats to Andy, and Mary's not there. I can't wait to see when the trailer comes out how they address Mary's absence. I think that's going to be very telling. Like, remember when Andy said when Adrienne wasn't on the reunion floor, like, okay, guys, so Adrienne Maloof is noticeably absent. So this was her last act as a housewife. Adrienne will no longer be a part of the show. And we're all like, what? I wonder if he's going to give us that same thing, or if it's going to be handled different. I don't know. I am curious, though. I want to know.
Yeah. Or, I mean, remember when Jacqueline missed that reunion? That one season in New Jersey? That was very interesting because she just didn't come, but she was already filming the next season. So that was pretty wild itself. I actually want to go back and rewatch that now that I'm thinking about it.
You normally don't get to not show up.
You don't.
Ever. I mean, even Lisa, people are like, Lisa Vanderpump didn't show up. Yeah, but it was also her last act as a housewife. She didn't show up and she didn't come back.
Yeah, we knew she wasn't coming back. I mean, the writing was on the wall for that one.
Right.
One super chat I want to address before we go is Vilashia Perez, who says the feds have substantial proof if they charged her. They can't just say it was my people and I didn't know. She can't just say it was my people and I didn't know. They don't work like that. They win. I mean, we will definitely see come March, April, what exactly was going on. We have another one from Erica Davis who says it might have been the guy who leaked the video of Jen cussing him out. Jennie is trying too hard and she needs to worry about finding that sister wife. Ooh. Okay. Way harsh share, but I like it. Adam, anything coming up this week that we need to be on the lookout for from you?
No, I mean, it's going to be a crazy week. I always have pre-records. I started a new show to kick off the new year. If you guys are up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern or 6:30 a.m. on the West Coast, then you guys can wake up with me. And it's a lot of Bravo Hot Topics, but I drink 4 shots of espresso in the morning. I move my desk. I'm working the whole room. I have a lot of energy. And also, we have some interesting, exciting interviews coming up. It's blowing my mind. I really don't know what to think of them, but I always say this to you, until I actually have the interview, until I have it landed, until I have it filmed, I don't really like to give anything away. Yeah, I say nothing.
Say nothing. But we are excited nonetheless. Adam likes to work, y'all. Okay.
Yes.
I like to leisure.
Listen, it's a balance. It's a good balance. Somebody has to leisure while the other person's working. No, you work too, Even I envy you. You were just able to take this trip. You went on, and I was following you on Instagram. It looked like a beautiful trip. And I can't step away for 2 minutes from my channel without looking at numbers. Like, Jason gets so frustrated with me because I'm always looking at YouTube analytics. I'm looking at numbers, answering comments, and he's like, stop. We're on date night. Be in the moment. And I don't have the ability to log off. I can't. So
you know what? I actually did not look at my channel not once while I was away. I made a commitment that I was actually going to vacation, and I did get a lot of footage and stuff like that for vlogs and stuff. But I was just like, I had not taken a vacation since I started my channel. Even when I did go on vacation, I was still working. And so even like the people in the comments were like, you need a vacation. Just take some time off. And I was like, you know what? I think I will.
You're like, you guys are right.
It ended up being the best thing for me, but we back, new year, whole lot of mess, and we're here to talk about it. So
new year, new me, and we have the same scars almost. So we're here.
Yep. So Adam, next week, this time, same channel. Salt Lake City, it's coming to a close. Anything that you hope to see as we sort of end this season, real quick?
I mean, I want to see the Mary footage. I want to see. I think that Tamara Tattles is onto something when she says that Mary must have seen the rest of the episodes and it probably swayed her from coming back and doing the reunion. I think that our answer, like that question, will be answered by all of us once we see those extra episodes. I'm guessing there's 2 or 3 more. I want to see them because without that, we don't really have a whole lot of answers as to why Mary did not come back. And hopefully this will help us piece it together. I'm not an investigator and I'm not usually good at pointing things together, but this is kind of very easily laid out for us. It was either the Cole allegation she didn't want to answer. She didn't want to answer for her comments made, or she was just simply fed up with reality TV, which I don't think that was the one. So I do have questions and I want to see them answered.
Same here. Larry has some great advice for you, Adam. He says, Adam, take a break and let it go. Sometimes your followers will be there when you get back, and they definitely will be.
Hey, and learn self-care. Many workaholics end up with high blood pressure from the stress. Thanks, guys.
Okay. Real quick, V. Lashia says, by the way, there is some Simon and Jalen drama on IG. I tagged you and sent it to your DM. Oh, God. They're at it again. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Guys, listen. Continue to tag us in all of these stories that you guys see, because sometimes we're working and you see it before we see it. So we appreciate that. Adam, I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to talk about this. I know that you're very busy and have a lot going on, and we are super excited to see everything that you are going to do next.
Thanks.
Skye Squad, thank you so much for tuning in and welcoming me back. I cannot wait to continue the work, and we will see you guys in the next video.